Yogis are observing 5 Upadanakhanda, 5 aggregates subject to clinging or Namarupa process, psychophysical phenomena as impermanent, suffering, and non-self. There are 5 aggregates, Rupa aggregates, Vedana, Sanya, Sankhara, and Vijnana aggregates. Sankhara aggregates is volitional formation aggregates. According to Abhidhamma, there are 52 mental states. Vedana feeling is 1 mental factors, 1 aggregates. Sanya perception is another mental factors, another aggregates. And the remaining 50 mental states, Phasa, Cetana, Ekagata, etc., are collectively called Sankharakkhanda, volitional formation aggregates. Because this Sankharakkhanda group is headed by a mental factors called volition or Cetana. Today we go to the Ekagata, one of the Sankharakkhanda. Ekagata, you know 5 jhana factors, Vitaka, Vichara, Piti, Sukha, Ekagata. So Ekagata is one of the 5 jhana factors. Another name for Ekagata is Samadhi, concentration. Concentration and Ekagata are the same. Ekagata is the unification of the mind on its object. Eka means 1, ega means object. So having 1 object is the meaning of Ekagata. That means being on 1 object. This Ekagata becomes prominent in the jhanas. It can be developed into factors of jhana. That means very strong Ekagata, very strong concentration. Ekagata is a universal Cetasika. That means it arises with every type of consciousness. Sometimes people are not concentrated. Perhaps they are doing akusala, unwholesome. Some are stealing. When they steal, they have to concentrate. Some are robbing. When they rob, they have to concentrate to their robberies successful. If they kill, they concentrate so that their killing be successful. So there is no concentration at the time, but actually there is this ekagata, 1-pointedness of mind, going with every types of consciousness, wholesome or unwholesome. So for Chaita to be engaged with the object, Ekagata is necessary. So one-pointedness, Ekagata has non-wandering or non-distraction as its characteristics. That means it is not distracted to any other object. The function of Ekagata is to conglomerate or unite the associated states. Ekagata is compared to water, which keeps together the grains of flour. When you make dough, you have flour, and when you put water into that flour and then knead, it becomes dough. So when it becomes dough, then all the particles of flour are kept together. So the functions of Ekagata is to conglomerate or unite associated states. It keeps mental state that arise together. That is its function. And the manifestation, it is manifested as peace. Because when there is peace, you get concentration. So that means tranquility. To be still, it is something like that. It is compared to a flame at a place where there is no wind or no draft. That means like in this room, there's no wind. It is like the flame of a candle. It is still. It doesn't move when there's no wind. So one-pointedness is compared to that flame where there is no drought. It is important to understand this. When we talk about samadhi, we say samadhi is the ability of the mind to be on the object, to stay on the object for a certain period of time. But actually mind disappear after 3 sub-moments. Upada titipinga, arising, staying for the moment, and disappear. So mind disappear after 3 sub-moments, and one-pointedness of mind also disappear after 3 sub-moments. Although we say there is concentration, mind and concentration do not last for more than these 3 sub-moments. What is meant here is that concentration is like the flame. When you look at a flame, you think it is always the same. But actually, at every moment, the flame is not the same. In the same way, when we say the mind is on the object for a long time, that means the same type of consciousness arises again and again and again. So if the object is a material object, then that object also changes after every 17 thought moments. 17 Chaitanya. When you say you have samadhi or your mind is on the object for a long time, it does not mean that Chaitanya lasts for a long time. It is the nature of Chaitanya to arise and disappear in just 3 sub-moments. However, the next Chaitanya arises and dwells on the same object or the same kind of object. In the same way, in other moments of one-pointedness arises, dwelling on a similar object. In this way, you must understand concentration. So it is like a flame where there is no drought. So another Chetasika, another Sankharakkhanda is Jivitendriya, mental life faculty. Jivita in Pali means life, Indriya means faculty, so it is called life faculty. There are 2 life faculties. One is material, rupa, and the other is nama, mental. Here the mental life faculty is meant. So it is the characteristics of maintaining the associated mental states. Associated mental state arise and then they continue for some time and then disappear. When they are going through these 3 phases of existence, life faculty keeps them alive. Life faculty does not let them disappear until they reach the third or final stage. So Jivitendriya just maintains the mental state. It does not cause them to arise. And the function, Jivitendriya has the function of making them occur. It is not that mental life faculty or Jivitendriya produce associated mental states. Making them occur means making them go on until the end of their lives. That life is 3 very brief sub-moments. And the manifestation is a manifestation as the establishment of their present, and the proximate cause is the mental state to be maintained. So mental life faculty is compared to water in the lotus stalk. Water in the lotus stalk keeps the lotus alive. Also, it is compared to a boatman. And there is a question. If life faculty maintains the other associated mental states, what maintains it? The answer is it maintains itself along with the others associated mental states. So it is compared to a boatman. A boatman rows the boat and takes the people to the other shore. When taking the people to the other shore, he, the boatman, also takes himself. In the same way, Jivitendriya maintains itself while maintaining other associated mental states. So there are two similes, water in the lotus stalk and boatman. Another Sankharakkhanda is Manasikara. You familiar this mental factor, Sankharakkhanda, Yoniso Manasikara, Ayoniso Manasikara. Manasi means in the mind and kara means making. So the manasikara literally means making in the mind. That is attention. Yoniso manasikara, wise attention, wise reflection. Ayoniso manasikara, unwise reflection, unwise attention. Attention is the mental factors responsible for the mind's advertence to the object. That means it turns the mind to the object. It keeps the mind directed towards the object. It is a function of manasikara. That is what we call attention. And the characteristics of manasikara is the conducting of the associated mental states towards the object. Channeling or turning the mental state towards the object is a function of manasikara. Attention is like the rudder of a ship which directs it to its destination. When there is no attention, your mind has no aim. It goes here and there like a boat without a rudder. When there is a rudder, you can direct your boat where you want to go, you want it to go. In the same way, when there is attention, the mental states of attention keeps your mind going towards the object. Manasikara should be distinguished from vitaka, while the manasikara turns its concomitants towards the object, and vitaka applies them onto the object. It is very subtle. It is amazing that the fully enlightened Buddha could differentiate these minute mental states. First, it is difficult to know that there is vitaka and that there is manasikara. And it is more difficult to know how they function as they arise at the same time. So vitaka and manasikara arise at the same time, but they have different function. There is a subtle difference between vitaka and manasikara. One directs the mind to the object, the other puts the mind onto the object. So these two are actually different. Manasikara turns its concomitants towards the object. Vitaka applies them onto the object. So if there were no manasikara, yogi minds could not be on the object. Manasikara turns your mind to this object and that object. So when we study Vidima, we need to we understand when there is yoniso manasikara, your kusala karma, kusala wholesome deeds arise, and your wholesome deeds develop when you have ayoniso manasikara because of the bad environments, bad friends, and bad intention, bad place you stay, and then you have ayoniso manasikara, unwise reflection, and then akusala, unwholesome deeds were developed. And then we go to another Sankharakkhanda, Vitaka. Vitaka is the mental state that takes your mind to the object. It puts your mind onto the object. The characteristic is directing of your mind onto the object. And the functions of Vitaka is to strike at and thresh the object, knock the object. So that means to act upon the object. It is manifested as the leading of the mind onto an object. Vitaka is also called as Sankappa, intention, and as such is distinguished as Miccha Sankappa, wrong intention or wrong thoughts, and Samma Sankappa, or right intention or right thought. Wrong thought means thoughts about sensual pleasures, thought about injuring other people, thoughts about dosa, evil, hate. And Sammasankappa you are developing. Sammasankappa is the opposite of these three. Thoughts about getting out of sensual pleasures, thoughts about not injuring other people, thoughts about non-hatred. So Sammasankappa is one of the factors of the noble path. And Vitaka has many names depending on what function it does. So we need to explain more Sammasankappa. So when we practice Eightfold Path, Sammasankappa, how we develop, Buddha said, Bhikkhus, what is right thought? Thoughts on freedom from sensual desire, thoughts about getting out of sensual pleasures, that is Nikama Sankappa. Thoughts on non-killing, thoughts on non-desire for killing, thoughts of wishing well to other people is Abhyabhada Sankappa. Thoughts of non-cruelty, thoughts on giving protection out of pity, out of compassion is Avihimsa Sankappa. So these three modes of thoughts are known as Samma Sankappa, right thought. So you need to remember Nikama Sankappa, Abhyabhada Sankappa, and Avihimsa Sankappa in Pali. So can you follow me? Nikama Sankappa, Nikama Sankappa, Abhyabhada Sankappa, Abhyabhada Sankappa, Avihimsa Sankappa, Avihimsa Sankappa. So Nikama Sankappa, Abhyabhada Sankappa, and Avihimsa Sankappa. So all thoughts of good deeds, such as performance of meritorious deeds, you want to seek for ordination, entering monkhoods or nunhoods, listening to the Dhamma talk, and practicing samatha meditation and vipassana meditation are factors of renunciation. That is Nikama Sankappa. So it is clear that practicing vipassana meditation fulfill the Nikama Sankappa factors of Samma Sankappa. And thoughts of non-killing and wishing well to other people is Abhyabhada Sankappa. So especially when you develop Metta Bhavana, Metta meditation, these factors of Abhyabhada Sankappa is being fulfilled. And thoughts of consideration and compassion is Avihimsa Sankappa, which is especially fulfilled while you engage in Karuna Bhavana. So when you practice Vipassana, when you develop Eightfold Path, there's no thoughts of killing, no thoughts of cruelty with respect to the sense object under your contemplation. There's no chance for thoughts of killing, no chance for thoughts of cruelty. So in the practice of Vipassana meditation, it is not intentional exercise for deliberate aiming that that factors. In the practice, it is just slight bending of your mind or giving direction your mind towards the meditation object so that you perceive the true nature of Namarupa as impermanent suffering and non-self. So the first Sankappa, Nikama Sankappa, second Abhyabhada Sankappa, and third Avihimsa Sankappa. So Nikama Sankappa You know our Bodhisattva Sumedha. Bodhisattva Sumedha had the kinds of Nikama Singapa. His Nikama Singapa is so memorable. Bodhisattva Sumedha was born 4 incalculable and 100,000 world cycle. His parents died when he was young. So the treasurer of the family handed over to that young Sumedha. This is your parents' properties. These are your grandparents' properties. So 7 generations of his forefathers, the treasurer handed over to the young Sumedha. And young Sumedha reflected on the mortality of his ancestors who had left all their properties in the hands of other people. They could not come and look after their properties now, all died. And they could not use any of their former property, and they could not take their properties away with them to their next life. My parents, grandparents knew only how to get properties, but they did not know to take their properties away after their death, he thought. Now Sumedha hoped to take away these properties in the form of karmic effect by doing dana, by giving it away. So he hoped to gain merits by charity, the merits that is called anugamika properties. That means the properties that always follows the donor in the cycle of life. So anugamika, that means wherever you go, wherever you born, in the cycle of life, these properties will follow you. That is called anugamika properties. So in this regard, you will need to understand the 4 kinds of properties. Jingama properties, Jingama Ocha, Tawara properties, Tawara Ocha, and Ingasama properties, Anugamika property in Pali. So you need to understand Pali. Can you follow me? 4 kinds of properties. Jingama properties. Jingama properties. Tawara properties. Tawara properties. Ingasama properties. Ingasama properties. Anugamika properties. Anugamika properties. So the commentary describe cattle, dogs, cat, or other living beings as jingama properties. Jingama means mobile or movable properties, and the non-moving lifeless things as tawara properties. Tawara means immobile. But we will classify properties in the traditional way gold, silver, vehicle, clothing, etc., which are easily changeable, are to be regarded as Chingama properties. Mobile. So this kinds of property is not durable, although it is your vehicle, it is your gold, it is an other person possession. When it gets into the hands of thieves, robbers, or cheater. So if you have gold and it is stolen by other people, so it becomes his properties, and it is difficult to get it back. So you cannot own this property permanently. If it can change easily, it may be your property now, but it may belong to other people the next moment. So it is not reliable. So gold, silver, etc., which are not immediate use to us, have to be changed into permanent properties. So people change these properties as land, business, building, etc. So permanent property cannot be moved secretly. So permanent properties are more durable and more dependable than mobile property or movable properties. Yet you may lose it when some bad people legally claims it by right of their inheritance, or you may lose it because you cannot always count on it through the change of times. So immovable properties, tower property is not reliable, so it is better to change into Ingasama properties. Ingasama property is property like the parts of your body. You carry this property wherever you go, just like your legs, your hands, etc. So this kinds of property is your occupational career. You know how to teach, you know how to paint, you know how to do treatment for their sickness. You know how to do business. So this occupational career is called Ingasama properties. A man can earn his living by his profession. He cannot be robbed of it, and so people spend a lot of money on their education for their children. But these Ingasama properties, professional career, or your profession is reliable in this life only. When you die, you have to learn again. You have to study again. So that profession cannot be carried to another life. So the most solid then the properties of professional carrier is the anugamika properties. Anugamika properties in the form of dana, charity, sila, morality, bhavana, meditation, etc. Nobody can steal your practice. Nobody can rob you of it, or nobody can prevent it from producing its wholesome karmic effect. These anugamika properties will follow you in your life cycle, and there will be a lot of beneficial by carrying these anugamika properties. So yesterday, the story of Sotapanna became Sotapanna, and then he possessed seven anugamika properties. You remember, as soon as he became a Sotapanna, what noble treasure he possessed? Sila. Sila. So to become a Sotapanna is not too easy. But if you become a Sotapanna, your DNA is totally changed. Your DNA changed to Ariya DNA. That means your Ariya DNA never do killing. Your DNA never do stealing, never do daily lives, etc. So in every life you reborn, if you become Sotapanna, for minimum 6 life, you reborn as a being, you will never kill, you will never steal, you will never telling lies. So that kinds of properties are very reliable and dependable. A faith in the true teacher, true community, true Dharma, true teaching, that is Saddha. That Saddha DNA will follow you every life. So now yogis are practicing meditation to change your DNA of Ariyas. Ariya DNA is very reliable. When you die, that DNA never change. So it is very, very important to practice meditation so that DNA will be changed into Ariyas. Now Sumedha Bodhisattva, he understand, to carry these properties in every life, he have to do charity, dana, properties. So Bodhisattva Sumedha gave away all his properties and he became an ascetic. At that time, he was about 16 years old, at most 20 years old. And as a young ascetic, he developed concentration, trained his mind, and within 7 days, he attained jhana and psychic power. So his intention to give away all his properties is Nikama Singapa, thoughts of renunciation. His thoughts of becoming an ascetic and trying to attain jhana and psychic power is Nikama Singapa. So too was his thoughts of seeking Buddhahood. He wished for Buddha in front of the Dipingara Buddha by offering his body to be used as a bridge by the Dipingara Buddha. So that is what Vitaka, Nikama Vitaka. Nikama Vitaka, Nikama Vitaka, Sammasankappa. Now yogis, what kinds of Vitaka during the practice of meditation? There arises Nikama Sankappa, Abhyavada Sankappa, and Avisa Sankappa. Yogi have thoughts of observing the 8 precepts. That is not Kama Sankappa. If you want to enjoy in the essential life, you won't come to the center. Now you come to the center to practice meditation, 1 month, 2 months, etc. And this kinds of vitaka is Nikama Sankappa. Thoughts on freedom from sensual pleasures. If you want to enjoy sensual pleasures, we will not come here. So now here you come and you take 5 precepts. That is called Nikama Sankappa. And every hours, every moment, except sleeping time, you practice meditation. So that kinds of vitaka is what vitaka? Nikama Sankappa. Thoughts on freedom from sensual desire, sensual pleasures. And then you have thoughts of thoughts on non-killing and thoughts on non-desire for killing, thoughts of wishing well to other people. You radiate metta, you develop loving kindness. When you practice vipassana meditation, that is what kinds of vitaka? Abhyavada Sankappa. Or Abhyavada Sankappa. And then when you practice Guruna Bhavana, that is Avisa Sankappa. So every evening you practice Metta Bhavana and Guruna Bhavana. That is Abhyavada Sankappa and Avisa Sankappa. So can you open your book, Retreat Manual, page 84? Page 84. When you practice Metta Bhavana, you have to divide the beings into Odisha group and Nodisha group. Page 84, you radiate 10 directions, and then Sabbe Satta, Sabbe Pana, Sabbe Buddha, etc. are Odisha group, beings without limitation. That is all beings. They are in the group of Odisha. That means beings without limitation. And then Sabba Etiyo Sabbe Purisa, you radiate metta to the females group, not males. And then you radiate metta to Sabbe Purisa, you radiate metta to males, not females, etc. That is, Anodisa group are 7, they are individual identity. So every radiation, your vitaka are abhyavada vitaka. That is, Metta Bhavana means abhyavada vitaka. You wish all beings have no enmity and danger. You wish all beings have no mental suffering, no physical suffering, and you wish they take care of themselves happily. So every radiation you are developing abhyavada vitaka or Metta Bhavana. Metta Bhavana. So can you follow me? Sabbe Satta Avira Hondu Avya Bija Hondu Aniga Hondu Sukhi Adanam Pariharamdu. May all beings have no enmity and dangers. May all beings have no mental suffering. May all beings have no physical suffering. May all beings take care of themselves happily. So every radiation samhita you are developing abhyavada vitaka or Metta Bhavana. So you have to go accordingly, and then there is Odisa group 5. Sabbe Satta, Sabbe Pana, Sabbe Buddha, Sabbe Bogula, Sabbe Atta Bhava Priya Pana. And then Sabba Atiya is a Nodisa group. A Nodisa group, individual identity, female group, male group, Nobavan Arya group, and Pudujana Walling groups, and celestial being groups, and human being groups, and Apaya being groups. So when you radiate these Anodisa groups, Awira Hondu, etc., you are developing Abhyavada Vitaka, Metta Bhavana. And when you radiate Metta Bhavana, you are practicing Vipassana meditation. Vipassana meditation encouraged to observe the psychophysical phenomena occurring at the 6 senses. So when you radiate Sabbe Satta Avira Hontu, Abhya Bija Hontu, Aniga Hontu, Sukhi Adana Priharantu, you need to capture the radiating mind. You need to capture the sound wave. You hear the sound wave, and eardrums are rupa. Sound wave disappear, and eardrum disappear, and the whole body disappear. And radiating mind, you really wish them to be free from physical suffering, mental suffering. So that radiating mind need to be captured. And as soon as you capture the radiating mind, it also disappear. So during the practice of Metta Bhavana, you have the kinds of vitaka is Abhyavada vitaka, wishing them to be happy, and you are developing Metta Bhavana. And at the same time, you need to practice vipassana by noting the sound wave and radiating mind. So that is Metta Bhavana, and then Karuna Bhavana. Karuna Bhavana is Avihimsa Vitaka. Avihimsa Vitaka is thoughts on non-cruelty, thoughts on giving protection out of compassion. You have a lot of compassion because beings are suffering. Beings are suffering terribly. Many conflicts are there, and many suffering beings in the hospital. So they are suffering beings. You need to develop Karuna Bhavana. So Karuna Bhavana is to radiate Sabha Aitya, Dukkha Mujantu, etc. So Sabha, I will do that Karuna Bhavana, you just listen. Sabha Aitya, Dukkha Mujantu. Sabbe Purisa, Dukkha Mujantu. Sabbe Iriya, Dukkha Mujantu. Sabbe Inariya, Dukkha Mujantu. Sabbe Deva, Dukkha Mujantu. Sabbe Manosa, Dukkha Mujantu. Sabbe Vinipatika, Dukkha Mujantu. So translation, can you follow me? May all suffering females be free from suffering. May all suffering males be free from suffering. So Ariya Bogala are also suffering because they have khanda. So long as they have khanda, they are suffering. Buddha also suffer, sometimes headache, backache, etc. So we have to radiate Karuna Bhavana to the noble ones. May all suffering noble ones be free from suffering. May all worldlings, may all suffering worldlings be free from suffering. May all celestial beings, may all suffering celestial beings be free from suffering. May all suffering human beings be free from suffering. May all suffering people who may all suffering apaya beings, may all suffering apaya beings who have fallen from happiness be free from suffering. So that is Karuna Bhavana Dukkha Mojantu. That is Karuna Bhavana. So long as you are radiating Dukkha Mojantu, may they be free from suffering. You are practicing Karuna Bhavana. You are developing Avihimsa Vitaka. Avihimsa Vitaka, you are developing. Another one is Yatalada Sambandita Mahavikijantu, that we may all beings be not deprived of happiness they have obtained, that is mudita, and may all beings have karma as their own, that is upekha bhavana. So in this subject, we need to develop metta bhavana and karuna bhavana, or abhyavada vitaka and avihimsa vitaka. So we have to stop our discourse for today by practicing vipassana meditation, by observing every phenomena occurring at the six senses, by noting, rising, falling, sitting, touching, seeing, hearing, continuously and meticulously. May all yogis be liberated from all suffering. May all yogis realize the real peace. in the very near future. So